Hello, welcome to Monte Carlo to Marlow.
Welcome, Richard, to Monte Carlo to Marlow via Sydney, even though we can't quite tell where you are with your room.
Hello.
So tell us where exactly we find you today.
So I am in the central business district in Sydney. It's called the Rocks.
Like the Sydney Opera House image over you or something.
Well, exactly. So if you kind of look over there through a few walls and a couple of streets, Sydney Harbour Bridge is just over the way. So we're sort of bang in the centre. Yeah, called the Rocks, near Circular Quay, in the heart of the CBD in Sydney. And it's evening my time in winter as well.
So you're at work at the end of the day. Thank you for accommodating us. We
Of
first
course.
met in London town. In fact, I want to say Folgate Street is the agency that you're
Yes,
working.
it
I don't know
is.
why that
Yes.
sticks in my mind. So you first were at an agency when I first met you.
Yes.
What was your career plan as you were kind of studying, or did you have a plan of what you wanted to do?
No,
No. Okay.
not at all. I think this was going back, well, it's over 15 years, I
Yeah.
think, since
And
we,
it was at a time when print media was kind of on its way out and we were moving into digital and social. So I imagine it was quite maybe exciting, but maybe quite a hard time to be working with clients that actually it was kind of like the Wild West a little bit in terms of
yeah,
media. How did you cope and how did that feel working at that time? Can you remember?
I mean, there was a lot of building the plane and flying it for sure. Um, it was traditional media was still absolutely king. I think in some ways still today that remains. It was around the time when social media, so Facebook, Twitter, were becoming a thing very quickly.
It was very much
And
Twitter, not Instagram then, wasn't it? People don't
yes,
understand how big Twitter.
yes.
Yeah.
I know. Where and Instagram
But it
was
wasn't there yet.
20, the mid maybe 2010 or something. Instagram, so it wasn't there yet. And I remember being in the office at Foregate Street, and we were in the whole company we were being trained on this is Twitter. You were showing it on screen. This
Well, I
is
remember coming in and doing a thing with the boardroom of,
exactly. There was
just
a lot of that,
mm,
and we were all learning together
yeah,
and then learning with clients. It's kind of a full circle moment with AI now,
really.
where
Do you think
it's
it's kind of deja vu?
absolutely where you adopt and adapt quickly. But, we are. It's a similar situation where AI is moving so quickly. I think social was moving so quickly at that time too that no one really had all the answers, but we were just
No,
learning together.
no,
Um,
it's amazing how much AI has suddenly slipped into every conversation now as well.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
And and it's similar to creative, where even if just because you have AI in your title or creative in your title, it's not just for that one person or that one role to think about. It's for everyone to be thinking about. So um it's really exciting with that in mind. And we've got approved AI tools that we're able to use. There's a lot of training, upskilling. I think what AI has done quickly is just help streamline with more kind of the menial average tasks, which allows you to do more of the kind of the bigger strategic creative thinking. That's
that's what
fantastic.
you're kind of front of face at the moment. So,
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you, which I guess I can kind of apply to today, is that, do you remember back then which kind of brands or campaigns that have stuck in your mind as being, wow, they're doing a really good job? And then today, who do you think is already doing AI really well? It's like, which kind of brands do you think just jump on it and run and don't wait?
Yeah. I had to think about who was doing it good at the time. We met as well when a lot of my clients were in the beauty sector and beauty brands. One that has stood out to me still is Mac, which is
Yeah.
interesting because I think the noise around Mac now is not what it used to be.
No,
I would
it
say.
was really, it really was ahead of its time then, but there's so many beauty brands now, isn't there? It's
Yeah,
like
so
Mac
many.
almost felt like they were doing social media before social media because they use
It's
real
true.
people and they
Yeah,
didn't gloss over, ads didn't seem super airbrushed, though I'm sure they were, but they
yeah,
were fine with having someone with tattoos or with a
yeah,
bald head.
exactly. The
Yeah,
inclusivity, yeah, for
yeah,
sure. They're a legacy brand, and at that time too, there were loads of beauty brands that were kind of digital, like born through digital, like Glossier, etc.,
Yeah.
who had never done traditional marketing. But I remember there was a campaign that Mac they'd done it was an influencer campaign with 10 influencers, and they each launched a limited edition lipstick, and they were the faces of the campaign. And I think for a legacy brand, that felt like the first time that
Yeah. Yeah.
I probably got behind influencers as well, because influencer marketing was growing quickly, but it wasn't necessarily. I think people were testing. Lots of brands were testing, but that felt like a real moment back then.
Yeah, it's true.
From memory.
The the idea of people investing that much in an influencer back then, it seems
Yeah,
crazy when you think the money
yeah,
that is going into the
yeah,
influencer market then. It was an exciting time then because that if you were really good on social media, you didn't need the huge budgets in sort of media and marketing. So you've been kind of like steadily working in PR, marketing, and advertising. Describe your time in London before you moved over to Sydney.
yeah. So it was 20 years in London, and I stumbled into. I'm not from London, so originally from Wales, and I was at that sort of 18 around sort of that time, and I didn't know who I was or what I really wanted to do, and I had offers for university in London, and I was kind of like, oh, do I do it, do I not do it, what do I do, for quite a while, and then I ended up deferring the placement that I thought I wanted, sort of for the university I wanted to go to, and actually just ended up moving to London, did a short course in comms and marketing, didn't go to the university, and just kind of fell into PR at the time. Started off in-house, in an in-house role, in Com Garden, German skincare company, brands like Nivea, etc. And the head office was Birmingham, so we were a small team of 5
Yeah.
in Covent Garden. I went in as the team assistant, effectively working across, I think at this time it was 17 different brands.
Think
At the time, it,
your head around 17 different
yeah,
brands.
yeah,
Yeah.
lots of funny moments, learning, even doing product orders. They would ship directly. I would have to fill out a form that retailers would fill out to order product. There was me thinking I was ordering, a box of something or whatever it is, but I was actually ordering pallets. I ended up. I remember it was on Long Acre in Covent Garden, and this massive lorry had turned up, and he was offloading pallets of product from the press office. And it was, yeah. So anyway, that was a
Amazing.
fun learning. Um, and after I spent a couple of years in house, went agency side, and it was around that time then that we had met actually. When I
Yeah, I
was
think
out,
you were
I went,
working for P&G. That was one of your
yes,
clients.
at
Yeah.
Ketchum. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was and Falgate Street was the original office. They've now moved. Yeah, lots of fun memories from that time.
Do you know what? It was a fun time, I think, because there was something new happening. I hadn't really the experience. My experience of print media was that I had a hair and makeup agency. So
Yeah,
I took bookings from beauty editors for
yeah,
shoots, but then
yeah,
suddenly to be around at a time when bloggers and setting up handpicked media and creating events that the brands and agencies hadn't done before. I remember saying, oh, you need to have blogger events in the evening
yeah,
because they can't come to your daytime
yeah. Right.
press.
I remember those conversations too with you.
And people don't understand that I might have created the first 6 to 8 blogger event time
Yeah,
because agencies just didn't have their head in that sort of different space. It was an exciting time, actually. So
yeah.
how did Sydney come about? How did Sydney present itself to you, and how did you prepare for a new job over there?
So, slight cliche, post-COVID, married to an Australian. I mean, we've been together for a long time and have been back and forth to Sydney, spent lots of Christmases here and winter UK birthdays in Sydney in February when it's glorious sunshine. So, had a good feel for the city, and for living in Australia, but you never quite know until you're here. So yeah, post-COVID, we just got to the stage of wanting to experience living elsewhere. And so the company that I work for now, I started discussions with them about my desire to, like, wanting to move to Australia.
Because they have an office over there, obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, where
so yeah,
speaking to
but
me means sell today.
yes, exactly. There are windows in this room, I promise. In my padded room.
Yeah.
But yes, there was, we're national across Australia. We've got offices, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and a couple of satellite offices, in Western Australia, Canberra, etc. We were established in Australia, and, when I sort of started the discussion around me, basically, we were coming out to live in Sydney, and if there was any chance I could relocate with my company. That I was lucky in the sense that yes, that was a possibility. It was around the time too that Havas, which is the company that I work for, had just launched I guess, enshrined their global mobility policy for talent. So it was good timing in that sense because there was actually a policy for internal transfers, and that kind of thing. So it worked out quite well. And then it took from sort of having the initial conversation through to then, being personally ready to do it and then professionally ready as well. I think that took about 18 months. So I had a role in London, but there wasn't necessarily a sort of a lift, like there wasn't a role specifically, like a lift and shift role for me here. So that also,
I love all these
you know,
corporate terms.
yeah.
I love-
I know, sorry, God. I
For
can't
someone
stop
who
doing.
works for themselves, I'm
Yeah,
going to use lift and shift.
yeah, lift and shift.
I don't even know
It
how,
is a
but I'm
good.
going to use it.
It is a good one. It is a good one.
Lift and shift.
It is. I don't really. I know. I don't like the whole like double click and all that stuff, but lift and shift is. It does what it
Sounds
says
like
on the
a
tin.
hashtag campaign we would have used
Yeah.
15 years ago.
So yeah, so it just took. It was just until you having never not lived in the UK, you don't quite know what you're kind of getting yourself into either, or what's required in terms of, well, for me, with a
Especially
relocation.
Australia. I mean, it's a
Yeah,
pretty big, big
yeah,
decision to go over there. It's not like thinking, oh, I might live in a little cottage in France for a while,
no,
2 hours flight away. Yeah.
no, and it hadn't really sunk in either until you actually eventually got here. And my husband went ahead because he was starting work, and we packed up all of our, because we have a place in the UK that is rented out, and we packed up all of our. We had to get professional, not just because it was relocating, but the whole customs. Like it is very hard. Like the customs is so strict, border control is so unbelievably strict, the itemization and all that stuff that you have to do of your belongings, and you
Yeah.
really need to know like what you can and can't bring into the country. And it was also like the Houthi situation with the ships was
Mm.
going on at that time as well. So our stuff, it was 6 weeks delayed leaving Portsmouth. It was nearly 5 months on a ship, which you could track. I was
Watching
dipping
Father
in and out.
Christmas and Christmas
Yeah,
Eve.
exactly. Well, it was one of those.
Our
Yeah, but
pirates
actually,
stealing our goods.
yeah.
God.
Where is it? I don't think it could have taken. Wouldn't have wanted it to have taken any less time because yeah, just there's a lot to get in
To
order and
process. Yeah.
mentally prepare and process and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. So now
yeah,
you're there.
yes,
What's it like? Like, explain the difference. Is there kind of a difference in work culture, lifestyle? Because lots of people say, oh, people in Sydney or Australia, it's more relaxed and you've got the
yeah,
beach. How has it presented itself to you now you're there?
yeah. I relate to that. I mean, I think the rhythm is different, I would say, to London. And that's just because they're not apples and apples in terms of cities. Sydney is a coastal city with water all around and beach. I think there is probably more emphasis on work-life balance here, but I don't think that means people work any less. There's no work shy, or like you're not working less necessarily, and you work as hard. It's just, people kind of prioritize and go through their day
Take
to
your work-life
ensure that,
balance.
yeah, that they can get out and enjoy. It's much more outdoors. It's great to, like, after work in the summer, to just take yourself off to the beach, which really isn't very far, and you've got so many to choose from.
Yeah.
And then just have, enjoy a bit of just a wind down.
A
And
swim
it's
after
like
work. Oh my
a
God.
swim after work. Yes, you can't leave it too late because what I've been told at least is sharks like to eat dusk and dawn. so don't be in the water at that
Lift and
point.
shift.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you seen that?
No, I haven't, but one of my sisters was out at Christmas time, or just after Christmas, and had never been to Australia, and took herself off to Manly, and they had the shark alarms. So they're very well, policed, but it's a whole operation, like looking
It is a
for
thing.
sharks. Yeah, and she just got to the beach, and the shark alarm went off. But I think this one was within the vicinity. She hadn't quite spotted it, but you're never too far away. You're never too far away.
You kind of, would you say you prefer the lifestyle over there, really?
It has taken 12 months in, or just over 12 months. It's been an adjustment, but yeah, and it's an adjusting to the different rhythm. I also live much more centrally in Sydney versus London, and
Yeah.
that has been transformative in terms of the work-life balance as well, because I'm not commuting.
You're someone
It's
like,
in
I need
London.
to
It
move.
takes,
Just walk to
yeah,
work.
exactly, and it takes at least 45 minutes to get anywhere in London.
Yeah.
So that's can be 2 hours, even if you're just going out in the evening or going whatever. It's at least,
Yeah,
um,
I was
yeah,
always really, I guess I just lived in central London for so long that
yeah,
I just took it for granted. But I also knew how lucky I was that I could just
yeah,
walk everywhere. In
yeah.
fact, going to your agency in Folgate Street felt like a commute. It probably took me about 15 minutes
You-
on the tube.
East London. Yeah, um,
I know.
you can never get anyone to go out.
But now it's like Chanel on Folgate Street and all these like
Yeah,
incredible brands.
I
It's changed so much.
know. It has.
So,
Yeah,
so you're loving Sydney. You've kind of settled into a rhythm. So we've kind of talked about AI being something that is now front of mind. With the agency that you're working with, what kind of clients are you working with, and how do you feel that you're progressing with what you're doing, and what do you spend most time on?
yeah. So we're a creative group.
Mhm.
So we have, I mean, the breadth and depth of clients, everything from travel tourism through to government, through to pharma companies. So it's really varied in that sense, which is also, I think, why I've spent most of my career agency side rather than in-house, because I love the variety
Yeah.
and the diversity of, the kind of problems or challenges that you need to solve with briefs. We're at that point as well where there's lots of conversations around AI, AI usage, how we embed that into our processes. We're doing lots of training days, or workshops where we know clients are, and the marketing teams we're all kind of in it together and in the same boat.
You feel that social media is like everyone, we've got it now, we know what we're doing, or do you still feel like there's some learning with that? Or
There's still so much for social. To me, it's more around, so from a media, like a paid media, or just a media rather than earned media, but a media perspective where, you look at Instagram now and the search for Instagram will appear in Google searches.
yeah,
So like
that's just
anyone's content can appear. And I'm like, so that is a huge change that, when you're looking at your marketing plans, like
that you've
how
now
do
got to
you
include that in search.
exactly. You look
Yeah.
at TikTok search. I mean, just yeah, and how younger people are using Gen Z, Gen A are using TikTok.
Do you think are the most important platforms for you that your clients say, we want to be there, we need to be included in this conversation?
I mean, in Australia, it's Instagram and TikTok for sure. As the yeah,
As
um,
Facebook, we always sort of said back then, even we used to say Facebook was just for sort of mums and people complaining that someone parked a car outside Tesco's. I feel like Facebook just never really came back. I know it was kind
yeah,
of the original social media. Do you ever use
yeah.
Facebook?
It's not. So as part of Meta, dollars go to paid social dollars, or kind of focus of strategies is really LinkedIn feels like the new
Yeah, it's
Facebook.
funny. LinkedIn, yeah, does seem
You
to be in
know,
a conversation more. Yeah.
for people to have a moan, like just in the way we used to use Facebook at the time,
So
or
that's
Twitter
become,
as well. It feels like that's become Facebook.
I think it's because maybe so many people are freelance now as well, is that rather than being on Facebook, they feel if they're speaking on LinkedIn, they're being seen by a potential employer, or it's about trying to sort of still stay relevant on this
Yeah,
platform.
yeah. I think there is, and the relevancy point I think is a lot of what I spend my time sort of on as well from a brand and client perspective too. Social, and I don't think social is definitely not social is absolutely not dead. Is social is culture. But I get the weekend papers, so I'll get like the Australian AFR, which is like the FT, all the FT weekend. Always go and get those papers, or the Sydney Morning Herald, like the weekend with the supplements.
With the colour
It's
supplement. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Then they're produced weekly and are great.
So going back to sort of really, it sounds to me like AI is sort of something you're spending a lot of time on. What else do you find that you are, because you're fairly senior at the agency that you are, and you're kind of, you're a growth officer, is that your title?
Yes, chief growth and client officer,
So how
which
do
sounds
you
very long.
feel, what do you feel is your main day to day? How are you working now? And when you look back at when you started and you didn't really know that you were going to go into PR and advertising, when you look at that journey, how does it make you feel of like what you've achieved now? It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it was never. I actually had no idea. I knew there was, there's progression, and it was a progressive industry, and I wasn't necessarily. I didn't need to stand still if I didn't want to. You're in charge of your own destiny, so that becomes particularly more relevant, I would say, the senior you get. Yeah. But my role has evolved. So I have a group role now. I was in a sort of agency head role in London, but I've moved to a new country in a group role, and that is the focus is so we operate in what we call a village or a village model. So it's a creative group. There's lots of different agencies that sit together, and we sort of capability wise, we offer a full service capability to client, and some clients might buy more than one service, or some clients, it may just be PR or advertising or whatever it is. I'm lucky enough to be able to work with all the different agencies, be it on new business, looking at existing clients, opportunities for growth. A lot of my time recently has been on new business, but it might look quite different tomorrow. So
You've
that
come a long way,
variety,
Richard, in quite a short time. It is. What do you think is one of your favourite things about what you do?
it is the variety. No one day is the same, really. I do like to have moments of reflection throughout the week. I'm generally quite calm, but you can just be busy, can be stressful, high pressure, and I particularly for me that there's been quite a learning curve in terms of moving into a group more central role. I haven't done that before, and I've come to a completely new market. Yes, it's the same company or the same group, but it is different. Not just the people, but the role is different. I've been learning, trying to get my head around the market, the media, clients, how it's a very dynamic market. It is smaller, but it punches above its weight. It's super dynamic. Creativity is amazing.
Where do
So
you get your
it's
inspiration from, do you think?
I would say the culture. It's a foodie culture here. Well, we're in wine country. I went to New Zealand a couple of weeks ago, which was the first time actually leaving the country in nearly 12 months. So there's a lot of inspiration just from, because we've been here now, and it's when we came here before living here, it was family time and generally around Sydney, whereas I've got a lot of inspiration from just seeing more of Australia, and enjoying good food, amazing coffee, amazing wine, and just that is culture here.
Yeah.
Um, and that's been awesome. So I get lots of inspiration from that, and just even in terms of just how we cook at home and all that, much more Asian.
Do you cook on a barbecue?
I mean, I don't have a
Are you the
barbecue.
cliche Australian?
We don't. We have a communal rooftop, so yeah, no barbecue at home, but the in-laws have one.
Is
So
there anything you miss about London?
I do miss the density of culture. I lived in Kensal Rise, Kensal Green, next door to Harlesden, which is probably the most culturally rich part of London. So I really miss that. And the kind of proximity to being, as close to that, and kind of, and walking through it day in, day out.
I don't miss the smell of London, though.
I don't miss the smell of London, no. It needs very clean.
I notice
um,
it
yeah,
every time. I'm like,
yeah,
Marlow smells so clean.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so fresh.
Mm.
Pub culture, the whole Sunday roast thing. It does exist here, but they're called hotels, not pubs. I think it was back in the day when if you had a liquor license, you had to then offer a room upstairs for people to stay.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so hence the hotel. But pub culture, Sunday roast. I mean, at least 8 months of the year, it's you don't really feel like one. But I just love that. It's just I mean, that's not
That's
necessarily
Britain for
London,
you.
brilliant.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but just the friendship, social aspect of that.
So traveling, you're starting to travel a bit more now. So you're going to New Zealand.
Yes,
What's next on your list of where to go?
back to Europe. So London over a couple of weekends, and then Italy.
One side of being on this side of the globe is that, and
Yeah,
being able to go to different countries in Europe, we are really lucky.
yeah, I know. And it's and kind of doing it not being so close, but I'm looking forward to the history of Italy and then just do you know what I mean that sort of it is that culture it is nowhere near where I live now. So yeah, so I'm just
Outdoor
looking forward to
lifestyle, I think as we get older, living an outdoor lifestyle, we appreciate it more as well. But I
yeah,
think, you're not quite a blue zone, neither is Marlo, but there's the kind of the work-life balance and being outdoors more. It's got to be good for you, isn't it?
yeah, I'm definitely better. I'm a better person for it. Yeah, for sure. And I do prefer a hot Christmas now. Yeah, because of the outdoors, like they're just you realize how much pressure and indoors and claustrophobic it can be in the UK. And even though winters that haven't been that cold from memory, insolent summer is weird, but it that doesn't feel like Christmas. But the
That's funny
outdoors.
that you've already adapted to a hot Christmas. So just to wrap up, just to go back to sort of like the work as we've been talking about hot Christmases, what
Mm,
advice would you give? Because obviously, just in the short time that you've been in media, PR, marketing, it's
yeah,
changed so much. Changed so much.
yeah,
So, what would you say to someone that wanted to get into that industry? What are the most exciting parts, and where do you feel there's more opportunities at the moment?
yeah. I honestly, it is so fast paced and changing. Like who knows? I couldn't predict where we end up in the next like 6 to 12 months. It's exciting in that sense
Really?
because it is
I
just
think because
it
of
is
the AI aspect
yeah
is
it's yeah
it
rocket
feels
fuel.
like
So
social media is suddenly upon us again, really, I think, with the opportunities and like you
yeah,
say, how everything's changing so quickly.
yeah.
Um,
I feel like we've adapted, we've embraced AI quicker than we perhaps. Well, maybe I can't remember. Um, I feel like it
I
was a
think it took a while
slower
for social
embracing.
media to come
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
be the norm, really.
yeah. It's
But
true.
AI feels like it's hitting every other industry as well,
Yeah,
not just sort of where we were. It
it's
feels, with
exactly that's true.
film,
That's what I'm saying. It's true.
and politics, it feels that
Yeah.
AI is suddenly going to just flood all of us.
Yeah, it's true. It is. So yeah, that
Would you say
is
training AI then? Would you say that that's something?
it. I think AI is that if you're in the creative media or marketing world, like I think what's most important if you are just starting out or want to break into marketing or into the industry is to actually have a point of view on something. It's not right or wrong. I think having not I think what's wrong is not having a point of view on something. And because we bring that back to brands, you know, you need to be relevant, be
You need
that
someone with some
being
ideas.
helpful, entertaining, whatever it is, have meaning. You need to do something today. You
So
can't
if
just be
someone was coming to you and you were interviewing them, what would you be looking out for? Someone who got some opinions.
an opinion on something is what I would look for. And also it's someone with empathy, like being kind. I know it's cliched, but genuine, like it is someone that the having a point of view, being interested, curious, and that has an EQ or just seems to be just generally a good egg is plenty.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
Being around people all the time, you just want someone that is, yeah, considerate and kind.
yeah, exactly. And that, from a leadership perspective, I think that pulls right through um, an organization. And regardless of level of who you are or whatever, I think just that, yeah, considerate, kind, empathetic. But if you're starting out, and you want to break into something, it's just sort of saying something about something is
Being
going to get you.
interesting, I think.
It's
Being
interesting.
interesting and being interested.
Yeah, it's, and there are ways, in terms of like, if you want to build how you do that through a portfolio or whatever it is. But I think just, it doesn't even necessarily, or, if you've got your LinkedIn, that's the obsession now, isn't it? About personal brand and how that shows up on LinkedIn, which I do agree with to an extent. Point of view, if that's where it sort of manifests itself, brilliant. But I just think, just it, in this industry, a point of view.
Yeah, you want to be inspired by someone, don't you, that walks into the room,
Yeah, rather than someone that just doesn't have a view
fades
or
into
something.
the wall. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well,
yeah.
thank you very much, Richard Clarke.
Thank you.
I,
Great to chat.
I know it's really good to chat, actually, and yeah, I thanks so much. It's been so nice to reconnect.